right. It is the Matt Mosley Show, and coming to you on Rogue Media Network. And man, it's a tough day. It's a really tough day. Scotty and I have been preparing for this one, and like a lot of you out there, and we appreciate, by the way, all our Twitter audience. We've had thousands of folks who are kind of doing that Twitter, whatever I did to set this up, Twitter premium situation, that have been following us. We welcome you in. We would urge you to follow us on the YouTube page and take some time to go over there and subscribe, rate, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. But love to have you interact with us. And in the last few days, we've had a lot of breaking news. We had a lot of Cowboys news, and we've had a pretty large audience come in. And so we're happy to have all of you guys. Really heavy hearts, though, about today's breaking news. And today, we're going to spend some time on this, but we know a lot of people are hurting, mainly the loved ones and the family members of Marshawn Nealon, Cowboys 24-year-old defensive end. Most of you have heard. We started, hearing about this fairly early this morning, and then you start seeing things circulate all over, and then you see the statement from the Dallas Cowboys, and their statement was, and there it is. Thank you, Scotty. This was and this is how this world works now, because on social media you start hearing things, and you're like, what is going on? And this was this is very sad, because the Cowboys were confirming what folks were kind of seeing getting passed around. It is with extreme sadness the Cowboys share that Marshawn Nealon tragically passed away this morning. Marshawn was a beloved teammate and member of our organization. Our thoughts and prayers regarding Marshawn are with his girlfriend, Catalina, and his family. So, on top of, 24-year-old defensive end, has a touchdown the other night on Monday night, has been hurt a couple of games this year, been out for a couple of games, but really coming on and going to play a large role in this team moving forward. 2024 second-round pick. This was just, it's just tragic. And of course, everybody does the same thing. What happened here? What's going on? How do you lose? How does a 24-year-old guy, at just the start of his career, what happened? How is he gone? And news surfaces later, and you knew it would. Frisco police, that it was an apparent self-inflicted gunshot, according to authorities. And here is that release from Frisco police. And Scotty and I, even before this came out, were sharing there's some things you can watch in terms of like DFW police scanners, and all the towns, all the cities have this. And so we had seen some of what was out there and some of what was being, but in these kind of in these kind of situations, you don't want to be first. I know TMZ and others want to be first. You want to be right, and you want to know exactly what has happened. And so there was that police report, and the department responded to assist the DPS. This is the Frisco police, with locating a vehicle that had evaded troopers during a pursuit, entered the city at approximately 10:39 last night, Wednesday evening. The troopers found Nealon's vehicle a few minutes later. Now, he got away. They were pursuing him, and so they're like, okay, he got away. And so they brought in extra help. And moments, not that long after that, they found Nealon's vehicle, which I don't think, Scotty, we've gotten a description of that vehicle, crashed on southbound Dallas Parkway near Warren Parkway. According to the report, Nealon fled the scene on foot, and officers searched the area with help from K9 and drone units. 3 hours later, Scotty, I mean, if you can imagine that, I mean, this is out by the Cowboys practice facility. This is a very traveled road. This is not like some remote area. He left on foot, and it took them 3 hours to find, and he was found, appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We have since heard TMZ has obtained dispatcher audio, and so we know a little bit more about the police and their pursuit and trying to find out what was going on. And they had been tipped off that he was armed, and so of course, and then again, more and more reports coming on of like where he was, where they found his body, all of those things. According to the police report, Nealon fled the scene on foot. Officers searched the area with the help from K9 and drone units. And in those TMZ, the things that TMZ, the dispatcher reports, Scotty, we heard that, hey, okay, let's use the drone. Okay, we see something happening. And unfortunately, it looked to be like a portable toilet out in this probably field where he was. And that's where they ended up finding his body. And after they used all the proper precautions and caution, they were able to approach and realize that he was indeed dead. And during this search, they had been tipped off. Officers received information, this again, according to the police reports, that Nealon had expressed suicidal ideations. Now that we've heard some of these reports on that TMZ thing that's floating around out there, it appears that he had been reaching out to the family in his final moments to say goodbye. And Nealon's agent, Jonathan Persley, described his death as, quote, a pain I can hardly put into words. There it is, Scotty. I appreciate that. Jonathan Persley, who represented Marshawn Nealon and was extremely close to him. I am shattered to confirm that my client and dearest friend, Marshawn Nealon, passed away last night. I watched him fight his way from a hopeful kid at Western Michigan with a dream to being a respected professional for the Dallas Cowboys. Marshawn poured his heart into every snap, every practice, every moment on the field. To lose someone with his talent, spirit, and goodness is a pain I can hardly put into words. My heart aches for his family, his teammates, and everyone who loved him, and I hope they feel the support of the entire football community during this unimaginable time. I ask that you please give his loved ones the privacy and compassion they need as they grieve this tremendous loss. Boy, I mean, it's this is tough. And the NFL released its own statement saying it was, quote, deeply saddened by Nealon's death, adding the league has, quote, offered support and counseling resources to the Cowboys. Scotty, making this even, you would like to think that the players and everybody and the coaches could be there together, but apparently because of the bye week, they're not supposed to get together again until Monday. So there'll be some players that are still around that are wanting to come together. But a lot of players, as we sit here on Thursday, were already out and had traveled home, traveled back to their alma maters, traveled to wherever they're from. A lot of Cowboys have scattered across the country as this tragedy strikes. And Scotty, it's just, here they are, we're thinking Quinnen Williams. And again, we understand why you watch these shows. And we will talk about some other things today. But it's very difficult to talk about the Cowboys or Quinnen Williams' arrival. We have audio or we have video of Quinnen Williams and some of his first comments with the Cowboys that we were going to share with you today. We had different things lined up for today. It's just, this is just extremely tough and tragic. And man, I even, Scotty, at some point will play for our folks just some of the video that we did, some of the audio that we did with Marshawn Lynch on the Doomsday podcast that I do with Ed Werder. That is right here at Rogue Media Network. I mean, it was he was extremely hopeful, fun, loving, and even in that conversation, Scotty, here was a young man talking about like that he was, had opportunities in the transfer portal, NIL. He put up huge numbers at Western Michigan, and all these big schools came to him and tried to get him to transfer. And he told us they was offered like $200,000 or $300,000, and he said, "No, these are the coaches, these are the people I've done it with, these are the people who have poured into me, and if I'm good enough, they'll find me here at Western Michigan." I mean, who does that anymore? I mean, it's pretty rare. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's pretty rare. And that was the type of young man that he was. Now, Scotty, a statement from the Western Michigan coach, Lance Taylor. "My heart is absolutely broken over the loss of Marshawn Nealon. Marshawn was so much more than an incredible football player. He was a remarkable young man who meant so much to our program and to me personally. His leadership, energy, and smile were infectious, and he left a lasting impact on everyone in our program. Having coached him during my first season here, we developed a special bond that went far beyond football. His passion for life and his teammates were unmatched. Our entire Bronco family, football family, is devastated, and we send our deepest prayers to his family, teammates, and all who loved him. Marshawn will forever be a part of the Bronco Brotherhood." Greg Ellis had coached, and Greg's a longtime friend of mine. We probably should get Greg on maybe tomorrow or Monday. But he had coached. He had played for the Cowboys, played at UNC, was a first-round pick for the Cowboys back in 1998, and I covered it. I covered him in some of my early years with the team. And Greg's a great, great guy. And Greg's saying what a lot of people are thinking today. I mean, you're seeing some of the players, some of the tweets come in, Scotty, of just it's just gut-wrenching, especially for his teammates. Gut-wrenching for everybody to see the life of somebody young taken in like this. And you're just, and when it happens, you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, if we'd only, and I'm sure everybody's rethinking it. Did I see something? Was there something I could have said? Is there anything I could have done? And that's what happens in the aftermath of these kinds of horrible things. One of the things Greg Ellis said here in this ESPN.com story by Todd Archer, he said, because he talked about working with him and how he was eager to learn. And he said, you hear a lot of things about this generation of players, but that wasn't Marshawn. He was still a yes, sir, no, sir kind of guy. He wanted extra help with things. That was him. Extra stuff, a study film. He went on to say, I wish I would have or could have done more to help him in other areas of his life. Scotty, you can't help but think when, these young folks are dying, he's not the first to take his own life. And he won't be the last, sadly. And I think of these former players that are in their 40s or their 50s that are struggling like crazy and are having mental health issues. And we know now, because of the studies and concussions and everything, that CTE and things are involved with that. And those are heartbreaking. But it really, again, we don't know. I want to say, we don't know if it was CTE. People have mental health issues without playing football, without having the collisions and have the hits to the brain. I'm just saying it's sad and it's not normal for any young person to take their life. But Scotty, it's in mental health affects people that it's not just about football players or athletes. I mean, my gosh, at any age, and it just reminds us to try to remind other people, reach out. You got to seek help. You got to reach out to your friends. You got to, I think when you're probably going through horrible things and we don't know exactly what all led up to this decision with Marshawn, Marshawn Nealon, but the tendency for people going through tough times with mental health struggles is to withdraw and to be away from people, and you don't want to see people, and you want to present and that's the whole thing about social media. You always want to present yourself as like at the greatest moments, right? Oh, look at this, look at what we're doing. We're out celebrating, or we're on some trip or whatever. You don't always want to put out the darkest moments. And then even when people are willing to share some of their struggles, they also know that there are going to be people out there in social media like, ooh, too much. I don't know. Man, there are always people out there that will help you. And this is it's a tough day for the Cowboys organization. Nealon's friends and family. And I think, Scotty, the thing that really gets you is I think the thing that people have such a hard time understanding, and we just don't, we may never understand, but it's like, he's 24. He's with the Cowboys, got this huge platform. He's making great money. He can drive any car he wants. He can live anywhere. And it's just a reminder that wealth and fame and all that, I mean, by the way, that brings on its own other set of issues to deal with. This thought that because you have money or because you have fame or whatever, that everything is solved is not the case. And, all you have to look is to, Dak Prescott dealt with losing his brother to suicide. And he's been very, very upfront and out there with mental health and talking about it. And it's very important to talk about. And I think it's become, one of the best things in professional sports and college sports and everything is people have been more open to talking about it and to saying, hey, I've gone through some stuff. Here's what I've dealt with. I'd like to share it and be there and hopefully help others. But this today is just a huge tragedy. And this is someone taken from us way too young. And then, of course, from a news standpoint, what led up to it is just, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, like, you don't just one day evade the police, abandon your car, run off by foot, and take your own life. I mean, there's some stuff you're dealing with and leading up to it. Now, in the coming days, we will find out, okay, what was he dealing with? What was in his car? What was happening? What led to this? You can't help, Scotty, also, but think about this brings back some of the tragedies the Cowboys have dealt with even in recent years. 2012, linebacker Jerry Brown dies in a car accident. His teammate Josh Brent was driving, okay? As I recall, had been drinking too much over the limit in car accident. And Jerry Brown at the start, early in his career, taken way too soon. Strength and conditioning coach Marcus Paul passed away the day before a game after experiencing a medical emergency with the team. That was a devastating blow to the team. But what I'm feeling, Scotty, is just profound sadness. The news hound in me, Yeah, do I want to know everything? Do I want to know what led up to this? Sure, sure. And we can provide that, and we'll find out more, and we'll find out, even sadly, maybe his family members will talk, and we'll kind of know maybe even what he was experiencing in his final days. But his final days, I mean, this happened early this morning. Monday, he's out playing with his teammates, and he recovers a fumble, a block punt for a touchdown. He's celebrating with his teammates in the end zone. It's 10-7 in that game. So again, that's the senseless, awful thing of this, is just that everything's out there in front of him. But again, when mental illness takes hold, that's why I'm very careful, Scotty. When in dealing with suicide, I've heard people react to it with great anger, how selfish that was, and all this kind of stuff. And that's not the way to, it's never struck me. I mean, again, people can have whatever emotions they want to have, but to me, that's always, especially like a public reaction, family members and all that, that's another thing. Whatever emotions they're going through, have at it. I mean, it's whatever. But like when the public that really doesn't have like a close relationship to Neil sort of gets in this scolding attitude of, boy, how selfish that is. You don't know what he was going through. You don't know what was in his mind in those final moments. You don't know what he was running from. He was certainly dealing with a lot. And in those final moments, it appears that family members were trying to get word to the authorities that we're getting these text messages. And again, that's come from this TMZ report via, and I normally would not be like, oh, let me give you what TMZ is saying, but I've listened to it, and it is the dispatcher reports. I mean, you can't listen to this stuff without realizing that it's real. Now you think, how does TMZ get that? I don't know. Do they pay for stories? Of course they do. Do they, do people leak things to them that shouldn't be? Yes, absolutely. But it's happened. Reporters for years, we've tried to pursue these stories and get our hands on anything we can. But as reporters and as a longtime reporter, I would just say in these instances, and that's why even when Scotty and I were texting back and forth about the story this morning, the key is to always stick with the police reports. And that's, and hey, you say, well, Matt, a police report could be wrong. Sure. But that's, they'll have to come back and correct it if it's wrong or something. But this is the police report. And again, this is just and there it is. Thank you, Scotty. I was sitting here looking at it on my screen, and there is the Frisco police, and they're investigating that. And Scotty, we'll keep our eye on usually when there's a high profile something like this, the police department might hold a press conference. I'm almost a little surprised we haven't seen anything today. We'll keep our eye on that, because that's something we would certainly want to bring to you as we react to this. Scotty, join me just for a moment, and I tell you, this is what we do is so much fun. We love talking about sports, but this is the downside. There are awful moments, and unfortunately, I've been around for long enough and covered enough things that I've had some of these early morning waking up to awful stories. One that comes to mind was that horrible story of the Washington. They were the Redskins back then, but Sean Taylor, the great player from Miami, great young NFL player, and so he broke into his home. It was a home invasion, and it was a tragic, stabbing. I mean, that was a horrible deal. I just remember waking up to that and working for ESPN.com and trying to figure out what's what, and just oh my gosh, this is crazy. This morning, Scotty, as word began to go around about Marshawn Nealon. You're just like, how could this be? Because at first you just find out, okay, yes, we're hearing things, but the main news is he's gone. The Cowboys put out their statement, and it's just like, we're saddened to report. And you're just like, what? And of course, none of us can, especially with the way we're wired, Scotty, and in the media, what happened? There's got to be some explanation here. What happened? Well, we now know what took place, and we're just left, Scotty, with so many questions. I think a feeling of just unbelievable sadness, and then the feeling of like, dang it, like, what could have been done? What could have been? Is there anything to prevent? I mean, the police were just doing their jobs, and they were equipped with knowledge, even as they searched for him. Hey, this is what's happening. This situation is going the wrong direction in a hurry. And they were just out there trying to do their job. And then it ends in this tragic way where he takes his own life. Scotty, the only thing I can say is I'm glad whatever he was going through last night, these chases and then an accident and whatever was leading up to that can lead to other injuries and deaths as well. And so I am grateful that nobody else out there on the roads and everything, as the police and everybody, that nobody else was in this. I keep going back, Scotty, to his final moments. And there was just, and I'm sure the family getting some of those messages was wanting to intercede and hey, you're okay. You're going to be okay. But this thing, but again, I keep coming back to this, whatever he was facing did not crop up at 10:30 on Wednesday evening. There, obviously he was going through a lot. And I think today, and we always do this, Scotty, when we lose a friend to whatever, or something awful happens to somebody we know, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, man, I wish I had or even if it's a death from somebody who's been fighting cancer or something in that realm, we go through those thoughts, Scotty, of like, dang it, I wish I had caught up with them, or I wish I had all that kind of stuff. And today, Scotty, that's what those teammates and coaches are doing, because they're not trained like therapists, right? They're not like, they may not have even known. Marshawn may have just gone, that can happen. You can just sort of be your normal self and be quietly going through all sorts of darkness. And so, and we've all, a lot of us have been through things or had family that have gone through terrible, tough things. And for a lot of times, we hear the positive sides of those things. They come out on the other side. Sadly, it did not happen with Marshawn Nealon. And Scotty, today I grieve for his family, for a young man, for like a career that was just taking off. It's really, really extremely unfortunate. And no answers we'll get, right? No, like, he was doing this, or this was happening, or he had been, we'll like bring him back. No, it's not going to make it better. We might get more answers along the way. But today, for his teammates, his family, his girlfriend, wow, this is a major loss, Scotty.
Yeah, you've said a lot of things well. Yeah, it's gut wrenching. It's gut wrenching for a few reasons that you said. It's gut wrenching because, Matt, I think sometimes we want so badly to blame a catalyst. We want to put the blame on some influence, and the bottom line is we live in a time and in a place where mental health issues across the board climb and climb and climb. And if you go down generations to the younger generations, they get higher and higher. And as you pointed out, this is a young man who had achieved many of his dreams and was in the process of achieving them. He did lose his mom last year. We know some of that story, but this was a young man who, Matt, it may not have been anything except depression and mental illness, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think sometimes, like you said, you talked about, oh, we want to look at CTE, or I think in our worst tendencies, maybe we look at a story like this and we say, well, was there alcohol or substances involved, or did he get in a fight with his girlfriend, and the bottom line, Matt, like this happens to people every day and families every day.
Yeah.
And this is a reminder that making sure people's mental health is well should be a priority for all of us, whether that means, showing extra appreciation and care for people in your life, taking care of yourself. If you're not feeling well, making sure you are in therapy or medicated or whatever you need for yourself. And then, it's just, when it's a public figure like this, and again, for us, sports junkies, Dallas Cowboys people, it's kind of shocking. And I've kind of just been in this state of like, I am not in shock. I did not know Marshawn personally, obviously, but I almost shocked. Like, I'm just kind of sitting here kind of numb, like, really devastated for his family and friends and his teammates. And I might play the audio later in the show if we have time. Something you said I saw as you were talking, Matt Rule was basically saying Matt Rule had to do a eulogy for a player at one point that went through this, and said that a week before the player passed, he walked by him on campus and thought to himself, I need to get back and catch up. And then a week later, he's gone. And so that's the lesson for all of us. If someone crosses your mind, if there's someone in your life that, I should shoot them a text, I should give them a call, I should make sure they're okay. We're all freaking busy and we're tired, and it's easy for me. I'm just as guilty as anyone to say, I'll call them tomorrow. I'll text them tomorrow. I'll do it this weekend. I'll do it when I'm not so busy at work. And man, you never ever know what people are going through, Matt. Never know.
That's well said, because you just made me think right there. I was like, I've somebody that lost their wife, in last year. That's a good buddy of mine to cancer. And I, it's like you always in your mind think, I'm going to be there for that person and all. And then too much time goes by. So like I may, during this next break, I'm going to check in, I'm going to send a text. So I think what you said is right. I think it's impossible. And I don't even think that's I know what you were saying. I don't even think that's we do have a tendency to wonder, okay, because it happens so often, if there's a wreck or something bad, it's like, oh, was this involved or whatever. So I think that's pretty a natural thing for people to feel. But the other part you kind of hit on that I still think is important, these young football players, this is happening way too often. And yes, mental health can affect a football player or a non-football player, but we're crazy. Shouldn't use that. We need to, be open to further investigating. I was so appreciative of those people who did all the work. It led to that movie and it led to the huge NFL settlement. But this is extremely unnatural for a 24-year-old second-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys to end up taking his own life. Again, mental illness and depression and all, and it is a real thing. And people need help, and they get help, and there are amazing people in that field. But yeah, I can't help but think of these guys that have these major collisions. And I've had too many people I know, Andre Waters. Just people that just incredible careers. And then it just, late 40s, 50s, whatever, do something like this. It just happens way, way too often. So I can't separate that part, Scotty. thinking of that and CTE from this. But to your point, there is a wider thought that check on your people. Do it right now. I mean, if you're listening to us and we're going to do it. My gosh, we all have people in our lives. And by the way, if you're somebody listening to us today and you're going through some major struggles and you're like, oh my gosh, whatever, this makes you kind of think about things or whatever, reach out to somebody. We all need some help from time to time, and we all need to kind of talk through things. And especially guys, we're the world's worst at not, we're supposed to talk to our buddies about like actual stuff going on in our life. That's supposed to happen. I mean, it's, that's not, we hope we all have people that we can do that with. But I would say guys, especially, we're not really wired to seek out people to like open up to or be vulnerable to or something like that. At least I'm not, but, and I don't think I'm the only one, but yeah, I'm not, that's certainly not a particular strength of mine, but I do like listening to people. Believe it or not, you think Mosley talks all the time. When could he ever actually listen to some people? I do like it when friends come to me and open up about whatever they're going on with them. So anyway, reach out to somebody. Tell you what we'll do, Scotty, we'll in the 2:00 hour, we'll come back. I do like that piece I sent you that Jeff Cobb had from Fox that kind of showed, because you get to see him, you get to see his spirit, how he was. And it kind of does hit on what you brought up, Scotty, about he was dealing with the death of, profound loss for him at a young age, not long before his NFL career started, before the combine. He lost his mom, and quite honestly, they didn't really tell us what circumstances. And to think that, mental illness and depression, and that doesn't run in families. Hello, it absolutely does. And so again, we didn't know how she lost her life because they were keeping that personal. But I do think, Scotty, that particular story kind of showed just how, man, what a neat guy he was. I mean, it feels crazy to even talk about him in the past tense. I mean, he's 24 years old, and Marshawn Nealon was that news coming out today, and the Cowboys confirmed it, and we've since had all the police reports that kind of told us how his life ended and what led up to that, and very, very shocking, sad, and it's a tough day for the Cowboys organization and really the whole NFL family. So we'll talk about this more in the 2:00 hour. I would like to kind of show you a little bit of Marshawn Nealon. Tell you what we'll do though, Scotty. Let's do a little college. We'll do some Campus Confidential, and because we do have people tuning in that are, just maybe wanting a escape from this tragic news, and maybe just wanting to hear about some sports. We've got plenty of stuff out there from a college sports standpoint that we're going to react to. Scotty, let's do that next.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
whypersonalloans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit personalloans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit propmoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge?
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Welcome back. Mosley Show and Underdog, not just something we advertise, but something that I play just about every day. And since we're about to talk some college sports, I've got some college football picks for you for this weekend on Underdog, and one of the games is tonight. So if you want to play along with my picks, you want to, by the way, rough start to the week, but the last two nights I've gone 2 for 3 on my Underdog picks, and when you do the flex picks, that means you make money. So we're doing okay this week on Underdog. I did a flex pick here on college football, so if I get 3 of these 4, I win money. If I go 4 for 4, I win more money. The one tonight, I've got Owen McCown for UTSA throwing higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns in a huge game against South Florida. That South Florida team still a playoff hopeful. UTSA coming off a huge victory against Tulane. Fernando Mendoza, for my money, the best quarterback in college football. Indiana at Penn State. Here's something we know about Signetti. That man is not going to take his foot off the gas. I anticipate Mendoza throws multiple touchdowns. Bear Bachmeier's worst rushing performance in the last 5 weeks was for 43 yards. That's why I know he'll go higher than 34.5 rushing yards against Texas Tech in the game of the week at 11 a.m. on Saturday. And then Josh Hoover, his worst passing performance in the last 5 weeks was for 231 yards. I believe he will at least best that, going higher than 229.5 against Iowa State. Remember, if you want to play along with me, use this promo code Mosley on Underdog. They'll give you $50 bonus cash with a $5 deposit. $50 just to keep playing Underdog. Have some fun. Maybe make some money on the weekend's game. Underdog, make picks, win money. Today, we win more Matt Mosley.
What a huge win. What a huge win for everyone. Underdog, we love it. And we monitor Scotty's daily offerings, and he's given some good ones. I've been kind of monitoring. I've noticed he likes to dip into some of those former Baylor players when it comes to the NBA. And this time of year, I love NBA box scores. I get mad when, like, my old friend Rick Carlisle doesn't play Ray J. Dennis enough. I mean, the Pacers are not good right now. They're missing some great players, and that's a big reason for it. But Ray J had been doing some really good things, and then I looked last night, and they played him 5 minutes, and he took 2 shots. Come on now. Come on. At least in Utah, they're not that great, but they've given Keontae carte blanche. It's like, here you go, buddy. Now, last night, by the way, Scotty, our buddy VJ had his first rookie. You know, Cooper had that. I was at Cooper Flagg's game when he had 2 points, and he was awful. VJ had his first truly rough night. And I don't know if you looked at that, Scotty, but he went 3 from 14 from the field for 7 points. Sixers lost that game. He'll be okay. He'll bounce back from that. Maxey had his usual, like, 39. Grimes comes off the bench to fill it up for about 27. Again, just, you cannot be great every night as a rookie, but that bounced up. Before we do Campus Confidential, just a quick thing. I just want to say, if you're just joining us, we have been talking about Marshawn Kneeland. We'll have more in the 2:00 hour on his life. We've got a couple things we might share with you. Scotty, I mean, I couldn't help but kind of go back and listen to an interview we had done with him, and just the nicest, best young guy, and very mature, and a guy who could have gone in the portal when he had an unbelievable season at Western Michigan and just said, no, I'm okay. Okay. I'll get paid soon enough. I trust that the NFL will find me here at Western Michigan, and they did. And he became a second-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys. Last night, tragedy struck, and early this morning, actually, it started last night in a police pursuit on what appeared to be a routine traffic stop, and he evaded arrest, and then they found him after he crashed his car. And according to the Frisco police, he did die of a self-inflicted gunshot. More of that to come in the 2:00, and we may play a little bit. There was one particular story that I just think it kind of showed what kind of spirit he had, and how neat of a guy he was. And again, what a rough story this is. But we're gonna break from that just for a bit here, and we're gonna do some Campus Confidential. And if you're new to the show, that is usually around 1:30. We break away in college football, college basketball, college, any kind of college athletics. This is a time, and Scotty hits on several topics, and then we react. And we have some banter about those things. And of course, right now, this time of year, everybody's looking at college football playoff. But this goes anywhere Scotty wants it to go. It is campus confidential. Scotty, what do you have for us today?
Well, Matt, we did a lot of college football playoff the other day. So let's start actually with college basketball. Marquette has made a bold new recruiting push here, Matt. I don't know if you've noticed, but for some reason, college basketball has started allowing guys that have played, a couple years in the G League just to come back to school. Just come back to college, make some NIL money because you weren't cutting it in the G League. Well, the other night, a professional Greek basketball player, not sure if you've heard of him, his first name is Giannis, asked if he could go back and play for Marquette, to which Marquette basketball responded, "You are welcome any time," with a good Photoshop here of Giannis in a Marquette 34 jersey. Again, that Giannis tweet there is at the bottom. Random thoughts as I sit in my living room. Do I have college eligibility? Could I suit up for Marquette tonight? Matt, I love that this professionals coming back to college thing has gotten so notable that even the Greek freak is out here joking about it.
Yeah, and maybe even I like that too. And he's funny. He's good on social media. I like it. I like these guys that'll kind of open up, and the Greek free, and the fact that about 6 months ago, 8 months ago, you remember that story? Everybody's like, Giannis is going to leave. He's going to leave. And It's like, no, he didn't leave. There are people, and for some reason, European players are a little bit more, they are not quite as quick to go form an alliance and join other teams. The Dirks, the Antetokounmpos, back in the day, the great Peja, Stojakovic, they wanted to stay with the organization that took a chance on them.
Tony Parker.
Them in. Yeah, the little Frenchman from, the great Tony Parker. Yeah, who every time I think of Tony, I think of Tony was a great San Antonio Spur. Let me just say, Tony was not always kind to his teammates. All right.
I've heard that. I've heard that before.
We'll leave it at that. But I do like it. Now, Scotty, one thing you said, though, you said something like the G League, like maybe it's not working out for them. What if, for whatever reason, they're not bringing them up to they're in the G League. They're just going off. And the truth is, the college can pay them way more money than they're making at the G League level, right? I think that could happen. Now, you say to me, well, Matt, what if they're scoring 35 a game on the G League, then surely the NBA will sign them and bring them up. Not necessarily. I remember the great Pierre Jackson. He was down there just throwing up enormous numbers. And they weren't bringing him up. Now, he finally got his run a little bit with the Dallas Mavs, I believe, at one point.
He did. And, he played 11 or 12 games for the Mavs.
Yeah, and did okay. He got hurt, and sadly, when he got hurt, that was it. But not many 5'8", 5'9" dudes. He might not even be that tall. He might have been 5'7". Make it in the NBA, but he can always say that he did. So, I think teams are, Scott Drew and Tom Izzo were talking about guardrails and, hey, this is crazy, but the other coaches are out recruiting it like crazy. And I guarantee you, as Scott's saying that, don't think that he doesn't have somebody on his staff combing the G Leagues. You heard from Ashley Hodge the other day. Baylor needs a big. And that's gonna happen maybe at the semester. Now, he said it would be from somebody like foreign, but how about somebody from the G League? How about one of those G League rookies, about 6'9", 6'10", shot blocking dude, but he's not getting a look from the NBA. Keep him in mind. But I cannot believe we're already there, Scotty, that Baylor last year, that was the huge thing. Not enough depth, not enough big men, not enough depth. And we're back at it. And they tried to address it. I mean, they can't control all the injuries. You can tell players, I don't know, that to not get on scooters. You should put that in their NIL contracts to not let.
I was waiting for a joke in that vein somewhere. Yep.
Yeah, I'm being serious. I'm not joking. I
know.
Yeah, I remember.
It has jeopardized a ceiling here in Waco.
Yes, and by the way, when I was at the NCAA championship when Baylor was playing for it, that Final Four, and I was making my way around Indianapolis. You remember Tristan, who ended up transferring to SMU, who was the great player at Baylor, but had the horrible knee injury. Yeah, Tristan and those guys were all over town on those scooters, and I wanted to be like, dude, you've already had this horrible career-ending knee injury. Do you really need to be riding these scooters around downtown Indy? Keep your players off scooters. I cannot believe
scooters, forerunners, or four-wheelers, golf carts. Let's keep them off. Let's keep them off, all of them. Let's feet on the ground, boys.
But now, but we want to keep them in those Mission golf cars. Not the players, but the folks around town that have some good disposable income. Buy yourself a Mission golf car, which is part of our Green and Gold Game Day pregame show. Scotty, I'm going to do one this weekend, even during the bye, just to stay fresh. I've put together like a run sheet, and I don't know who's going to be willing to do this with me. I know you're not going to.
No way.
But I am going to do a bye-week pregame show. So let KWTX know. I'm sure they'll want to put that on. All right, Scotty, what else do we have in Campus Confidential?
Well, Matt, this made me sad because I have I'm trying to think carefully before I say this. I think it's true. I think there is no award, no individual award in sports that I personally hold as highly as the Heisman Trophy. That is a unique distinction in my mind that is different than most other individual awards in most sports. But if you look at the Heisman odds today, Matt, do you have any guesses about what players are leading in the Heisman Trophy odds today?
I have not looked it up. I would say the Julian Sayin, the quarterback from Ohio State, and then I would think Mendoza's still up there hanging around pretty high, and that's really maybe the kid from Oregon. That's really all I can think of right now. I mean, I'd love for Marcel Reed to be up there, but I bet he's not. What are we looking at?
So you started strong and faltered there towards the end. The top two are Julian Sayin at Ohio State at plus 180, Fernando Mendoza, Indiana, plus 220.
It's a very strong start.
Dante Moore does not appear on this list of 10 here on the CBS Sports article. But here's what made me sad, Matt. 3 is Ty Simpson at Alabama, plus 350. Then Marcel Reed, quarterback, Texas A&M, plus 650. Gunnar Stockton, Georgia, in kind of the 5th position here, but it's a dramatic drop in the odds, plus 2,500. Matt, here's why this makes me sad. What I don't want to see this award come down to, and what the NFL MVP has largely come down to, is, well, let's just give it to the quarterback on the best team. Part of what I like about the Heisman Trophy is, even though it often goes to the quarterback on one of the best teams, a guy like a Robert Griffin can come from a 3-loss team and snag it. A guy like the Slim Reaper, Devontae Smith, can win it as a wide receiver a few years back. For ages, it was thought that a freshman could never win it. And then along comes, was it Jameis Winston that broke that first freshman to win it? There was a year that And Ndamukong Suh was a legitimate Heisman candidate, and you could argue should have won the award. Manti Te'o was a runner-up in the last couple of decades here. So Matt, the top 5 Heisman favorites right now in Vegas are just the quarterbacks for the top 5 ranked teams in the country. And that's really deflating to me. This is kind of a weak year. I don't know that there's been a overly impressive single player performance this year compared to some of the years past. But it was really kind of a bummer for me to open that up.
I hate to see you in that kind of state, but let me just ask you this. Have the because I don't have this in front of me. Has the Alabama or Ohio State, they both had those stud sophomore receivers. Have they put up big numbers? Are those guys on the list somewhere? Because they both have huge freshmen last season that were ready to break out this year even more. One of those would have been, what is his name? Ryan Williams, I think, at Alabama.
Oh, you're asking me about the receivers numbers here.
I mean, I thought, that's exactly.
Okay, I thought you were asking me about the quarterbacks. Jeremiah Smith, the Ohio State receiver, is next in the odds here. He's the 6th highest player in the odds here. So he's having a big year. I think Ryan Williams is kind of disappointed. I've seen some videos of drops. But Matt, here's what's crazy about this. So I said it's just the 5 quarterbacks of the 5 top-ranked teams. Matt, out of those 5 quarterbacks, the one who has the most passing yards out of those 5, where do you think he's ranked amongst Division I quarterbacks in passing yards?
The number one, I'm going to say low. You're leading me to say low, like 15 or something. What is it?
19th.
19th.
19th. Okay.
Yeah.
There are 18 quarterbacks. And I know, I mean, stats don't tell you the whole story. And like Sawyer Robertson's still number 1 in the nation in passing yards. That guy doesn't deserve the Heisman this year, right? But like there are 18 quarterbacks who've thrown for more yards than Sayin, who leads all those guys in yardage. So I don't know, man. I just feel funny about it. I feel weird about it. I don't want it to become
it's
the
very
de facto
odd.
Quarterback award.
Well, it already has to a certain extent. Now, it used to be major running backs. You could get running back and quarterbacks, but in recent years, it truly has. Which is, you're right. It's the old. I mean, there are quarterback awards out there that you can win,
right?
But the Heisman has become really the best quarterback in the land. It is odd this year because the focus has been. And I don't know, maybe this is healthy. The focus has been more on teams, right? It's just Indiana is such a monster breakout story. A&M always has talent, but to be able to survive and be 8-0 for the first time since like 1994 or whatever is a huge story. So the teams sort of trump the players. So, yeah, it may be. I just think what happens is, too, it's in the aftermath of like a Heisman battle that was kind of exciting because you had a guy who did things that we're not used to. You had Travis Hunter playing receiver and playing cornerback, and so that was a scintillating, great, fun story to watch. So that's a breakout Heisman candidate. A year later, you're like, well, the A&M's having a good year. Like I wish that whether it be KC Concepcion or Craver, those guys have had breakout, bust-out years. Like, why when Devontae Smith, what I would be interested in to look, Scotty, you don't have to do this right now, but it would be interesting for us to take a peek at, like, the best receivers this year in college football and comparing them to Devontae Smith's year when he won it. Is it that far behind it? Think about LSU's 2 receivers when they won the national title. They were unbelievable, but they paled in comparison to one Joe Burrow because he was getting a lot of the attention. But it would be interesting to go, okay, let's look at a receiver who's won it. All right, why did Devontae Smith win it? Well, he was on a great team. He was on an incredible team. He had an incredible quarterback, but he put up monstrous numbers. Are these receivers, honestly, fairly close to those numbers, I think we should look. I think that would be kind of interesting. But that's a good one, Scotty. I like the discussion. What else do we have? We got anything else?
Well, let's jump into the SEC real quick. We've got this crazy coaching carousel going on, this season and obviously coming up this offseason. LSU did promote Verge Osbury to their athletic director. He was named interim, and they have removed that interim tag. And furthermore,
he did a great job in those 5 days that he had the interim tag. He just really did it.
He killed it. Aced the job interview. Well, and furthermore, Matt, it's kind of funny after all the drama with the Louisiana government and blah, blah, blah. Asbury confirms he's been given full authority to conduct this search and hire LSU's next coach. So they just didn't like Scott Woodward, and that would be why he was run out of town. Now, in the midst of this, LSU obviously looking for a head coach. Lane Kiffin has become the betting favorite in Las Vegas for the Florida job. Curious because I think you and I might agree that the LSU job is probably a better job, and he may not even leave Ole Miss. But now the Vegas betting favorite for the Florida job. Meanwhile, Josh Pate on his show seemed to indicate that he's hearing something, and he wasn't very explicit about it. But he said everyone needs to keep an eye on USC. USC not really happy with Lincoln Riley. Turns out that Lincoln Riley is doing the same thing at USC he did at Oklahoma, Matt. He can put out a good offense, but there's never a very good defense, and he's probably going to let you down in a big game or two every year. So the carousel continues, Mosley, but LSU has their AD. Florida has a new favorite in Vegas, and we need to start maybe considering the possibility that Lincoln Riley could be on the move.
Now, are they saying he's going to get fired at USC, or that he might be a good candidate for one of these SEC jobs?
That's what's annoying when you watch shows like Josh Pate's college football show. He didn't say.
Okay. Well, that's
Pate,
weird.
I think reading into it based on what I'm reading, I think he suspects Lincoln could be trying to jump and get one of those SEC jobs.
He's been known to do it.
Correct.
One of those guys, Peter Burns, I thought made an interesting point about the Auburn job. And he was trying to make the argument that might be the best job out there. And you're like, what? And
compared to LSU?
His point was more alignment, way more stable athletic director situation. We just watched LSU, like the governor, come out and throw a flamethrower to everything. Like, as good a job as it might sound like, they ran Coach O out 2 years after he won a national title. They ran Brian Kelly out of there during the season, and then they fired the AD. It does not look like the most stable organization. And the Auburn AD came out, and I was not aware that Auburn had such a kind of tough guy AD, but he has come out and said, I am a committee of one. I like that.
I want Mac Rhodes needs to steal that line next time he's on ESPN, and they say, Mac, how's the playoff committee evaluate? And Mac just needs to say, I am the committee.
Yeah. I am the committee of one.
That's good.
That's
good. There's no way Auburn's a better job than LSU, though, Matt. I'm just saying, if you're asking me, what's the best college football job in America? I'm probably going to talk about LSU because they've won national titles this century under 3 different head coaches. That tells you there's a lot of infrastructure and support there, recruiting, all of it, that enables success. The other school I can say that about, Ohio State. I think Ryan Day is great, but they've also won, I think, national titles under 3 head coaches in this century, right? Because Tressel got one, right? So I think Tressel, Urban, and now Ryan Day all have national titles at Ohio State. And
well, some of them, it's like, I hear what you're saying, but the best jobs can also seem like the worst jobs. It's like it's both. Because Ryan Day, we can sit here and talk about it's a great job. But when he lost to Michigan in the same year, that he ends up winning a national title, they were wanting to run him out of there. And half the group wanted him to like lose to whoever they were playing, like Tennessee or whoever. They wanted him to lose so that they could get a new head coach in there. So it's in some ways it's great. In the LSU, it's funny to hear you say that. Like it's true what you said. They've had now, of course, the first one this century ends up with the guy who ends up being maybe the greatest college coach of all time. They had Saban. They win one with Les Miles. So it's like they're kind of like Auburn, though, too. Auburn, don't forget, Auburn has 2 of them this century as well. They can win them, and then Auburn likes to claim a bunch of them, too. But they can win them, but then, like, they don't sustain it. The thing you got to say about Ohio State, Alabama, and for a good run, Dabo. Okay, let's not forget. Now, I know they're not there anymore, but these programs did it and sustained it over the course of a decade or so or more in Saban's case. And certainly with what Ohio State's done. I mean, Urban leaves and Ryan Day comes in there and they just keep that thing humming. They're not going to do that at Michigan. It's just not. Like, they needed a singular, as much of a cheater and a weirdo as he is, they needed a monster personality like Harbaugh to come in and do it, right? They had other people, but it was a real up and down kind of thing. Ohio State, to your point, Tressel, who gets fired over something stupid. Now that we see everything that's happened in college football, that was like over some kind of signing jerseys or selling jerseys. That was the dumbest thing ever. They run Tressel off. Urban has an unbelievable run there, and then Ryan Day. And so, yeah, there's only a few schools that just get it done over and over. Florida can't do it. Auburn can't do it. LSU can't do it. There's only a few that just sustain it for years at a time.
The other school I've heard everyone say might be the best job in America, and I get it because I live here and I think we have the best football state in the world, is UT. But despite all the advantages and the money in that athletic department at UT, they haven't won a national title since Mac Brown.
Correct. And they're not the new Alabama yet, right? As some people were trying to say. And Sark went to back-to-back playoffs, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. And they're not completely out of this one. And, Scotty, I knew this would drive you nuts, but after we had our discussion about Sark and you were kind of like, oh, there's no way Texas can beat A&M. And I was like, oh, wait a second. Texas could totally beat A&M. And, by the way, they could beat them, and A&M will still go to the college football playoff. But there are now people out there saying, I think Joel Klatt's one of them, they're making an argument that if Texas splits with Georgia and A&M, that they could still get in. They could still get in as a 3-loss
That
team.
Absolutely drives me crazy. Don't put a 3-loss team in the playoff. That's insane. That's insane.
You knew the talk was going to break out. You knew it was going to happen. All right, Scotty, good stuff. Good stuff. Some campus confidential. We needed that. We'll get back into the news of the day, which is the loss of Marshawn Nealon, and it's a terrible loss. It's a tragic loss at age 24. The death. We'll talk about it, and we'll look back at his life because on a dark, dark day, I think it's important to kind of remind folks like what he was like. Man, he was a bright light and a neat young man. We react to the tragic death of Marshawn Nealon. We do that next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
so you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
My condolences for Marshawn Nealon's family, the Cowboys. You know, it's tough to lose a brother in a situation like this. So, you know, I want to send my condolences, my love, and my prayers.
What did you learn about Marshawn when you played with him last year?
Yeah, man. I know he loved the game, man. He loved to smile. He loved interaction with his teammates. And, you know, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him last year. You know, like the fourth game I got hurt, so that, you know, kind of messed up our relationship in time that we had to be together in the meetings and stuff. So, but yeah, man, he's a fun, you know, young guy, man, and I love being around him, and he's gonna be missed very well.
DeMarcus Lawrence in Seattle now, reacting to this news today of Marshawn Nealon gone at age 24. And we've been talking about it, and you know, we've had more news come in today. We've heard some of the calls, the dispatcher calls that were coming in last night. According to Frisco Police, in case you're just joining us, the department responded to assist Texas Department of Public Safety with locating a vehicle that had evaded troopers during a pursuit that entered the city at approximately 10:39. This started with troopers, the DPS officers, going to pull him over, and he evaded that. They lost track of him, and then DPS troopers found Nealon's vehicle crashed on southbound Dallas Parkway near Warren Parkway. That's out there by the Cowboys facility, by the way. He fled the scene on foot. Officers searched the area with help from K9 and drone units. Approximately 3 hours later, Nealon was found with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Again, all this report, according to the police report from Frisco Police, want to stay with that. And the officers received information during the search that Nealon had expressed suicidal ideations, according to the report. And his agent described his death as, quote, a pain I can hardly put into words. And then, Scotty, let's share with folks what the Cowboys said earlier today. This is how a lot of people found out that Marshawn Nealon had died at age 24. And, man, he was a second-round pick. We'll let you hear from him, a story that was done on him just about, I don't know, early in his Cowboys career as a rookie. We also shared, Ed Werder and I on Doomsday, visited with him, and just an incredible young guy. And again, this just shows you that you never know. You never know what could be going on in somebody's life. Cowboys said it's with extreme sadness that the Dallas Cowboys share that Marshawn Nealon tragically passed away this morning. Marshawn was a beloved teammate and member of our organization. Our thoughts and prayers regarding Marshawn are with his girlfriend, Catalina, and his family. We now know more about those final moments, and that according to the dispatch, and then I've been looking at the morning news now has it too. So he was reaching out to his family to say goodbye, and his girlfriend, who was not identified by police, told police, this is according to the Dallas Morning News, Nealon was armed, had a history of mental illness, and that quote, he will end it all, according to the recordings. Police said he was trying to contact his agent as they were trying to get her to contact Nealon, according to the audio. And at about 10:33, that's when troopers attempted to stop a vehicle for a traffic violation on the northbound lanes for a traffic violation, Dallas North Tollway at Keller Springs Boulevard. Driver refused to stop, resulting in pursuit where troopers lost sight of the vehicle. Officers established a perimeter and searched the area with the assistance of K9 and drone units. DPS troopers, along with Frisco police, found the driver, Nealon, dead at about 1:31 a.m. this morning from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. No further details of the incident were immediately available. So, man, and the NFL is hurting. The Cowboys are hurting. Obviously, his family. Jeffrey Simmons, who I believe plays for the Titans, put out a tweet and just said, even when someone is carrying the biggest smile, make sure to check in on them. You just never know, man. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We all go through things that we sometimes hide. If you or anyone you may know that needs emotional support, reach out to the National Mental Health Hotline. And that hotline is 988. All right. And Simmons finishes by saying, you are not alone. Scotty, this was terrible news to hear this morning. And it is a reminder that you never know what folks are going through. And this thought that you got the world by the tail, you're 24 years old, you got money coming in, you're a really talented young player, second round pick, you scored a touchdown the other night. Of course, as football people, as reporters, we can't help but think about, we were just at the game. I was just out there Monday night. He had the huge fumble recovery on the block punt. And you're just like, man, what a great moment. What a neat moment for him. This is late Monday night. That, and by early Thursday morning, he's no longer with us. And I just think it goes to prove that, hey, fame, money, it doesn't, mental illness, it's blind in a lot of ways. It doesn't, and in fact, the trappings of success and all kind of money and everything, that brings on its own separate new group of challenges that come with that. And so the thought, like, how could he do this? How could he do something like this? He had the world in front of him. Man, the black darkness and the nature of mental illness and depression and all. And I mean, and we've all had friends, and a lot of us, have had to deal with some of that kind of thing. It doesn't choose. It doesn't pick and choose. Well, no. Seemingly, as Jeffrey Simmons said, you can be out there with a smile on your face and the teammates. And that's what's happening today. Scotty, is, a lot of people are asking, a lot of his teammates are asking the question, what could we have done? What could we have seen? Could we have known something? Greg Ellis, who coached him last year, former Cowboys great, first-round pick back in 1998, he's saying, wish I could have helped him more off the field. Wish I could have known. Because this report coming in that he had mental illness and all, there's a good chance that a lot of his teammates didn't know what he was going through. It's the thing to do when you're going through that is not like, hey, let me get out there and tell everybody. The thing to do probably is to withdraw and maybe not let everybody know what's going on in your life. But we know the events of last night happened, and it's not that he just was driving one night and made some impulsive decisions that ended in the loss of his life. And again, it is being reported, and the police report says it's an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. He abandoned that car. He fled on foot. There was a lot, he obviously, by some of the reports that are coming out now, I was just quoting the Dallas Morning News, he was reaching out to family, and he was, in his own way, saying goodbye in those moments. It took him 3 hours to find Marshawn Nealon. And when they found him at 131, he was dead. And it's just awful. And so, I would just encourage folks to pray for his family, pray for his teammates, the Cowboys, his friends, and just a reminder that, hey, even you go, well, wait, do I have friends that are going through stuff? Well, yeah, we all do. We all do. Do you have friends that are going through stuff and you don't even have a clue they're going through it? You bet. You bet. We all do. And so, maybe this will make us a little more cognizant or reach out or think about those things. But extremely, extremely tough situation going on with the Dallas Cowboys, and folks reaching out. His college coach with beautiful words about what he meant to that college program at Western Michigan. And even in my talks with him during rookie minicamp, we did an interview with him, and he talked about, that, yeah, he got offered big money in the portal. And he just said he wanted to be loyal to the people at Western Michigan that had helped get him there. And if he was good enough and he put up good enough numbers, the pros would find him. And of course, he did end up as a second-round pick with the Dallas Cowboys, and had shown great signs. And again, it's hard for me, Scotty, to think about this without thinking about what a lot of young athletes, especially football players, have gone through. Listen, mental illness and depression is a tough enough battle, and you can end up in some dark places without like the combination of football. And we're seeing too many young lives taken. And when I say young lives, even I'm talking about players in their 40s and 50s and after they're through. We found, all the correlation, and we know more than we ever have known. And the NFL finally acknowledged some of that with concussions and CTEs. But you can't, how much did something like playing football have to do with whatever Marshawn Nealon's mental health issues were? We don't know. And we may never know. They do studies. They look into it. But there's a reason. Listen, athletes don't want to come out and tell their coaches or teammates something's going wrong, because why? Why might that be? Because they don't want to lose playing time. They want to, what if you come out and go, listen, I'm battling some things, and we now would go, well, I'm sure they would have reached out to him, and I'm sure they would have tried to take care of him. But the minute you give up your snaps or you're off the field, you wonder, well, am I going to be able to get back in there? How is this going to impact my career? So, there's a lot to think about and a lot to react to today. And the saddest thing of all is you got a 24-year-old guy who had everything out there in front of him that is gone. And his teammates, I just think right now people are just like in shock. And across the NFL today, some players are getting ready to play this weekend, and they're talking. Cowboys went on bye weekend. They don't even, a lot of them have flown away, and they're back home or back visiting people or wherever they live, if they have another home. And they're maybe going back to their alma maters. And so the Cowboys and the NFL are providing grief counselors all across the NFL. But right now, a lot of the Cowboys have left town. And so they were waking up to this horrible knowledge this morning. And it's not, unfortunately, there has been tragedy. We've seen it with the Cowboys, and it goes way back even to the great Mark Tuinei, who we lost way too soon after his playing career. The former offensive tackle, great for the Cowboys, part of those Super Bowl teams. Tough situation that everybody in the NFL is dealing with today. Scotty, I wanted to share with our folks. Jeff Kobe is a friend of mine. He is from Fox 4, and I always go back and forth on on some kind of tragic deal like this. Do you want to show something or show them during their life? But you know what? I do think I think at times like this, we can remind folks this was just a bright, amazing young guy. And in this story, that really came through. And I just wanted to share this with you. It was a short little story that Fox 4 had done when he was in training camp, and it also reminds you that Marshawn Nealon was dealing with some tragedy in his own life that he was talking through and seeming so well adjusted. Let's watch this, Scotty. This is with Fox 4 did this. Jeff Kobe, and this was a report from training camp. That Marshawn Nealon's rookie season.
From Grand Rapids, Michigan to Dallas, Texas, Marshawn Nealon's football journey has been full of change. Different teams, new positions, growing expectations. But from day one, his mom, Wendy, has always been there.
What would she make of all this if she was here right now?
She would probably be here right now.
She'd be like on the fence.
She would be, like every practice that we had, she would want to be sitting right here.
Wendy Nealon allowed Marshawn to keep dreaming about the NFL.
That support system I always had there never let me worry about life.
So when Marshawn made it pro, he wanted to give his mom everything in return.
Pretty much how my plan was is like, okay, I'm gonna help my mom for all the time she helped me. That's a part of the dream that I had.
But in February, with his trip to the NFL Combine just days away, Marshawn was blindsided by a loss he couldn't see coming.
It happened overnight. I get a call from my aunt, and she told me, like, sit down and, like, stop everything I'm doing. And I think I just had, like, a couple hours of, like, disbelief.
Wendy Nealon passed away unexpectedly. Marshawn and his family have decided not to go public with the exact cause of death.
She had health problems and stuff like that, but it was nothing life-threatening.
Somehow, Marshawn found the strength to keep going, completing the combine and the draft process.
How did you move forward?
I just had to lock in on, how she was always there for me for football. She wouldn't want me to grieve in that situation. She wanted me to, continue chasing my dreams.
In April, with the 56th overall pick in the draft, the Cowboys made that dream come true.
At what point after that moment did you take a moment to talk with your mom?
It was definitely that night. I have a urn with her ashes in it. So, I was able to just go outside, like take my time away from people and just, basically hold that and, act like she was still there.
What'd you say to her?
We made it. Yeah, we made it.
It's all tough, but to think what he was overcoming and dealing with and losing his mom, and they didn't obviously share the circumstances. Just so, but Scotty, what I'm struck by there is just the light-hearted nature and the lightness. And again, like you say, we never know what people are going through. And maybe he was in a really good spot there. Maybe he was in a good place. He reported to camp. Maybe things were going well. And boy, things can take a turn in a hurry and go negatively. And that's why we always have to talk to people and know. But just how bright, how funny. We shared when we interviewed him for the Doomsday podcast in 2024, we were just laughing about something. Oh, I remember what it was, Scotty. He didn't like, we told him Ed was with ESPN still, and I was with ESPN Central Texas. And so we mentioned ESPN to him. And his first thing he started asking us was, could we change his profile pic that ESPN is using on its website? He thought it made him look crazy, he thought it just made him look funny or something. And so we were like, okay, we'll try to talk to somebody and see if we could get that changed. And so he laughed about that real big. And then we talked about how his transfer portal situation and how he could have made big money, and he decided to stay there at Western Michigan. It just, to me, it's like, it feels like senseless. It feels tragic. And it's, There's just a lot of people hurting. And so we broke away earlier today to talk some sports and talk some college, but this was the main the main story we were going to be dealing with today. And that was nice. Jeff Kolb did a nice job on that story. I said this earlier, the Greg Ellis, the former Cowboys first-round pick and Cowboys defensive end, had coached him last year and spent a lot of one-on-one time with him. And when Todd Archer got a hold of Greg Ellis today, Greg Ellis said of Marshawn, he epitomized what you look for in a football player. He played the game hard. He was eager to learn. You hear a lot of things about this generation, but that wasn't Marshawn. He was still a yes, sir, no, sir kind of guy. And, man, it's just – and then his coach said such beautiful things about him at Western Michigan. I think the coach had gotten there, and his first year was like Marshawn's first year, and they had a huge bond. And but as you saw in that piece, I mean, Marshawn at a young age was dealing with some things that you shouldn't have to deal with at that age. And the loss of somebody that was enormous in his life as he prepared to go to the combine. And he went and he devoted his life to it. And he, by all appearances and everything, Scotty, he achieved. He climbed that. I mean, he did. You're not supposed to go to Western Michigan from a little small school in a little high school in Michigan and like make it to the NFL. That rarely happens. There aren't a bunch of Western Michigan kids or Eastern Michigan or any of those schools dotted across. This is the land of the Big Ten and the SEC, and those are the players on all these rosters. And yet he made it. And yet when he had a chance to go make some big money and make $200,000 or $300,000, he decided to stay at Western Michigan out of his loyalty to the coaches and the players and all of that. So again, we just encourage everybody to, knowing that this guy Marshawn Nealon was hurting and going through a lot. As I said earlier, Scotty, you don't end up on a freeway on the tollway one night and just make a whole bunch of, decisions like that. And it is just with extreme sadness that we discuss this story. And people, when you talk about taking your own life, suicide, and that kind of thing, it's just, people don't always want to talk about it, but people left behind and people in his family, whatever they're feeling, the horrible sadness, the grief, maybe the anger, it leaves so many people with questions and everything like that. But I still can't help but when I think of that, I'm just filled with like empathy and sadness for what he was dealing with, but to even go out and on Monday night do his job and be amazing at doing that job and then be hurting that much. And again, whatever was leading up to that, we may find out, we may never know. We don't have to know. We don't have to know. That's not our place to know all the answers and know everything. I did like what Jeffrey Simmons said, and NFL player for the Titans, big-time player. In fact, Cowboys were looking at trying to trade for him recently. And he says, "It sucks seeing the news of our NFL brother. Even when someone's carrying the biggest smile, make sure to check in on them. You never know, man. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We all go through things that we sometimes hide. If you or anyone you may know that needs emotional support, reach out to the National Mental Health Hotline 988. You are not alone." And man, the NFL world, the whole world's full of people who did get help and got to see the other side of the darkness they were feeling. Somebody mentioned to me today, Deion Sanders has talked about even at the very top of his fame, and he's playing baseball and he's playing for the Falcons, and he's just got this incredible life going. he talks of a suicide attempt, of thinking about it, wanting to do it, wanting to. I mean, I would have to look back at the documentary. I think there was a moment where he was thinking about taking his car into, offside of a hill or into a ditch, whatever the case may be. But he talks about that. So, even the people we look at, and of course now he's thought of as the extremely successful, very likable, runaway successful coach, former player, Pro Football Hall of Fame. But that didn't mean he had it all together. So anyway, we're just all talking about the death of Marshawn Kneeland, and we'll pass along any kind of news or any kind of press conferences that come along today. But right now, it just is the sadness of knowing this has happened. I did the statement from his head coach in college. My heart is absolutely broken over the loss of Marshawn Kneeland. Marshawn was so much more than an incredible football player. He was a remarkable young man who meant so much to our program and to me personally. His leadership, energy, and smile were infectious, and he left a lasting impact on everyone in our program. Having coached him during my first season here, we developed a special bond that went far beyond football. His passion for life and his teammates were unmatched. Our entire Bronco football family is devastated, and we send our deepest prayers to his family, teammates, and all who loved him. I think also, Scotty, we sort of like hear about these things and we're sort of trained. We know awful things like this happen, and sadly it's happened to too many athletes. And sometimes it has to do with they're not playing anymore, and that was their whole identity, and they struggle from a mental health standpoint. We've obviously seen cases where CTE and the brain has been damaged to a point where it causes them to be incredibly erratic, and so their final years, and then ultimately there's something horrible that happens at the end, and that is people that have taken their own lives. We've seen it in the NFL. I saw it with Andre Waters. He's a great player for the Eagles. We saw it with Junior Seau. I mean, you could go on and on and on. I mean, the last years of Walter Payton's life were the more you read about that, were erratic, and things were going on with him that were not him, not Sweetness, not the guy we know. We always want to remember our heroes or sports heroes like the very top, when they're at the top. And in our minds, of course, and I'm sure in his teammates' minds, they never knew anything. I mean, it's hard to even fathom that what he was going through. Or maybe they knew he was going through some tough times. Maybe he had shared that, but they never knew it was going to end with something this awful. So, and I think today, we need to leave it here, and we'll get back to the old, the sports world and the things that we do. I'm appreciative of the Brazos Landing, as always, the great friends that we have, Claude and Becky Lindsay over there. And but again, there's just such great sadness involved in today's show, and what has happened with this young man, Marshawn Kneeland, gone at the age of 24. And I'm really appreciative to Scotty for this was happening this morning, and there was, as with any of these stories, there's so much changing and there's some chaotic nature to it. And so Scotty did a great job of putting some things together and getting the graphics and then that video we wanted to share with you. So I'm very appreciative to Scotty for that. Appreciative to everybody at Rogue Media Network. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll have more probably on this tragic story. And then we'll delve back into the sports world, get you ready for the college and NFL weekend. Appreciate everybody who continues to watch us here on the Matt Mosley Show, our YouTube version. We will see you tomorrow at 1:00. Thanks.